Well, there you are, my music multiverse listeners. Welcome to Beyond Your Radio. You know what time it is if you've done this with us before. It's Saturday and it's album review Saturdays. We got Deb Armitage Hicks Maloney.
Morning.
Poured herself into these records, and if she did so like I did, it at multiple listens because they were not long. They
No.
were, they got it done. So when you're here with us, this is an extension of beyondyourradio.com, where our article section there, I wrote about the three records behind me. They have links to certain things, and maybe further pontifications are more sitting here than there. But if you like to read and you like that connectivity, there it is. If you're new to the program, well, just hang in there. This is the only way you're going to get the real new reviews. Most people will go with what they want to hear, what they try to hear, what they love to hear. Me and Dan, we it's anything. All hell for a basement. And join me next week when it's just me. Hell will be
Oh,
the word. Um,
sorry.
so there's no bullshit. We don't get paid to do this. By God, if we got paid to do this, I don't know what that might change things, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Ooh.
hi, Bianca.
Hey, I will listen to your album. That'll be this much money. All right. No, there's no ass kissing, nothing of that. We go right into it. On that note, welcome to June. And the constant rain reality has ceased finally in its gloomy pattern on upstate New York. I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods. I'm sure it's sunny and all fantastic, and you're not taxed to death, and your gasoline prices are not 4.55. Yesterday, I put down 30 albums, 30 on my spreadsheet that I have to listen to.
Wow.
What's the likelihood I get them all in? Well, considering I was able to knock down a few and get back to these three albums multiple times, I'd say the chances are probably impossible, but I'll try it anyway. Uh, Wait a minute. Kind of having an epiphany, but
What?
no one cares. Our
Oh,
first attention here goes to current rock royalty last name, and it's among the fighters for attention in the alternative grunge and even, we'll call it rock gazy universe of listeners. And there's a shit ton of them. So, hey, this has got that potential. But when we get to the last record of this, they don't have a chance. I'm not going to say it's a coveted debut because I really wasn't thinking about it. But once I saw it and it kind of got my attention. The second album comes from a modest soloist that would like you to believe that he's not here this way, but it is. And it's happening at his guitar sounds that are, I don't know, a rare blue species signature this time around. Our final record, yeah, 2 volumes of Damned If He Chooses and Damned If He Doesn't. And I'm not talking about damn, I'm talking about the musical
um,
position this progressive rock soloist projects and confines himself and his bandmates to. And in doing so, in 2 volumes, weaves its nature in both soothing and scathing audio soundscapes. Leave your folk, your pop, and your independence at the door. We're about to make no apologies for the sounds and our sound or unsound judgments. Yeah, right. All right. Hey, Violet, Grohl, be sweet to me. Well, I'll try. I didn't really catch her performances with her famous father. I did not partake of any singles or any releases prior. I wasn't even sure I was going to give this much of attention as it probably believed it might deserve. No disrespect. I just have a feeling this purple named apple was not going to fall far from the tree of rock royalty of plenty. All right. Well, Be Sweet to Me, the debut of Violet Grohl, daughter of David Grohl, obviously, Foo Fighters, Nirvana, them Crooked Vultures, and Sound City Players, does have an interesting record here to digest. It has everything you have to love about a packed rock record. It's got an edginess. It has both a grunge and an alternative familiarity, but also a pace of fierce punk, a little rock pitch, sonic guitar, and of course, little ways of clever homage of production and delivery that make you think of the band whole. Veruca Salt, somehow sung by Sheryl Crow, where AI interpolated it and somehow spit it out. But wait, no. Maybe it didn't. But I don't know. In some cases, I'm going to gamble here that this is real because, man, if you type this shit into ChatGPT, I'm sure it name dropped and said, I'd like a little garbage Sonics, Foo Fighters Jangle and Rock, and the Globe sessions of Sheryl Crow, and some sick industrial alt grunge under a gazy, hazy, psychedelic bog. And there you'd have it. You'd have this Be Sweet to Me. Heavy 90s on the record, on all corners of it. It's kind of bent, and I'm going to create a word called omulated. Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes, just me and Shakespeare, mother. Homage, to the eras and that you're trying to survive the grunge. You're going post grunge. You're trying to get the grunge off of you. You didn't take a shower. You did take a shower. You liked Hole. You didn't like Hole. It's rather cool. It is predictable in some cases, but it's an easy, repetitive 32-minute listen. Sure, there are sounds that harken to Dad. All right, Big Memory. Yeah. Oh boy, when it starts off, I went, "Oh, they're gonna cover a Foo Fighters song from the past." Yeah. Thumb more attention to a modern Foo, but she does have some unexpected things in the in betweens here that showcase a variety of temperances. Song like 595, got that Sheryl Crow Globe session I'm going to keep into, and Bug in the Cake, that even though it was moving to Grandma's, it was moving through Liz Phair in a grunge jangle. And dropping gently into Last Days I Love You. It's heavy rock. It's produced by Garbage in a way. It has that fuzz and sonic pop. It's clever. It's cool. Again, predictable. But you'll continue to listen, I think. The hooks, the riffs, it works because Violet can deliver within the confines of this studio musician album. Okay, there's no band here, I don't think, that she's going to travel with or anything or be with or have as her musician solely. It's safe in that regard because it's in the studio to me. But there's a potential, a vulnerability, a wispy breach and reach that I love about this record. And that kind of happens in Mobile Star because it slows a bit, shows a bit more elegance in that fuzz. And even Creep, that might just be an incredible signal of where this latest lineage songwriter might wind up when the sophomore record finally hits the shelves. But, I'm just one opinion of that no one follows. Let's talk to Damn, who no one follows either. No, okay.
Well, we're in it together. Well, you've said a lot already. And with her, being who she is, obviously, who are going to be her mentors, her influences. But then, she's a female as well, so it's not going to just be Dad. Even though she was introduced to all types of underground music while just driving in the car, and I'm telling you, I tell everybody that's a parent that's got some preteens and teens, get them in the car. They're captive. You can influence them, good or bad, right? So,
Yep.
She listened to both what he was saying and what he was playing, and she self-taught herself on the ukulele and guitar. So she comes by her talent honestly, and you got to, even if you're talented, you got to put some work into it. Otherwise, it just seems like you're regurgitating something you just know how to do, and you're not really crafting your craft, so to speak. And she has the female influences like, PJ Harvey, Hole, you mentioned. And I really felt Hole on the song Thumb.
Yeah.
THUM. That was a whole sound for me. The Garbage fuzziness throughout this album, really enjoyed that. And yeah, some of the songs you go, I can hear, the Foo Fighters in there, but they're their own songs. You mentioned a few already. Bug in the Cake, that had some catchy hooks to it. That kept you interested. I think she was smart to do an album that was not too grandiose, I guess, and give
Hmm.
everybody a little feel for what she's got going on. Um, and you mentioned 595. That was actually inspired by a T-shirt endorsing a phone sex line. I don't think Dad would want to know that, but
There's a distance one must have as dad, and of course with dad's history
yeah,
of
some things.
yeah,
Those
I mean, you can't be hypocritical, can you? I don't know.
I don't. Well, parents always are. So, yeah, I thought it was a great, freshman album. Definitely will be looking for the next one. I don't think she's gonna be a one and done. That's for sure.
Yeah, I
So,
think she likes it.
yeah, and that's the thing too. Sometimes kids get pushed in a direction because they think they have to, whether it's a
Yeah.
family of doctors, lawyers, musicians. But if she's coming by it honestly for her own enjoyment and growth, good for her. I mean, I'd use my last name too. I would. I think that was smart to not just be violent,
Well, I think
or
Violet was already taken, so she couldn't use that one.
oh,
So she,
okay, all right.
yeah.
Well, she could have spelled it weird,
Yes, of
like
course. Or been Little Violet. Oh shit.
Lil.
Yeah, Be Sweet to Me is a solid debut. Make no mistake about it. The audience, the confines of the studio, musical arrangement, and they bang it out. That's good. I liken this idea to that record for her to start with. Um, Often Others is an example of the perfect blend of all things under a productive guideline, and as to when you let it freak out just enough, not go too far. There's a lot more under the skin of Violet Grohl, and I'm sure as she begins to make connections with skilled musicians or people that she feels a connection with in other areas that might guide this and have a directional influence. I'm reminded of the stuff accidentally falling in the background of Applefish, if you're really listening, and that just go with it, go for it mentality. I don't know what crashed in the background of that song, but they just left it in. They
They
why
did.
not, right?
I thought
I'm
it was
sure
something
that's a
happening in my
Nirvana
room.
esque kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. Somebody backed into the cymbals or the espresso machine.
The espresso machine.
I'm glad to see the interpretation of grunge making a strong female comeback. And while I applaud the illegal use of outlawed lawn charts in the cover of this record, under the careful tutelage of drunken idiots, probably,
Yeah.
I would encourage our junior Grohl here to be careful with her font choices because I can't
Uh,
read it.
she's only 20. She
It
can.
might have had that feeling of mood, and I can't read it. I'm old. All right. Choose your fonts wisely, my love. All right. You know, other than that, this album is pretty sweet to me. I'm going to be fairly certain that when people are scrolling the releases of these times, there will be only a few select people who are going to recognize the name and the ginormous talent that comes with it. This Englishman has a rare sound gift that has probably been a unique atmospheric ghost in the machine of one of the finest bands of the modern era. While Tom York and Johnny Greenwood are the uber guardians at the gate of the Radiohead compound, Ed O'Brien's incantations, see what I did there, of guitar bending are the swirling mood and subtle chord magic that manifests the collaborative listening experience that becomes and is Radiohead. Why? Well, I'm not a guitar player, but he seems to have this unmatched ability to find either a sonic, a twang, a
Mhm.
fuzz, an oscillating groove mood without it being front and center. He's the background guy. Um, and this is Ed O'Brien, Blue Morpho. It's almost a living, weaving thread that he's pulled through and around the rest of the ensemble, no matter who the ensemble might have. It's rare and unique, And the blue Morpho, rare and unique, is a butterfly. His second attempt at enjoying himself at the helm, while creeping subconsciously to a strange forefront that definitely will catch those that truly appreciate albums. They appreciate the creativity and soundful displays of art really off guard. Does it sound like Radiohead? Well, for those of us that are in agreement of the soundscapes created from past to present by one of the greatest bands of the modern era, both commercially and creatively. Yeah, you'll recognize some gentle tapestries, momentous stuff, almost like the symphonic subtleties that anchor the album deeply are kind of rooted there. But Ed O'Brien has actually done a masterful job of reaching beyond that.
Mhm.
That alien covenant of his brotherhood. See what I did? Paranoid Android? No, never mind. But finds gold in the prospect of the little things, of the instrumental guidelines from strings to ambient soundscapes, and of course, the rhythmic pulse of percussion as the importance of the record kind of changes in its ascent to the winged expansion of the unique butterfly. So I felt like I was on the journey of the butterfly, kind of
Mhm.
going through the soundscapes and that visually and audio wise are intelligently done on this record. It really starts to bewilder you. And for me, you see, I project myself onto others. Find everyone hates me. Um, Sweet spot.
In a sweet spot. Do you know lightning strikes?
It's excellently and surprisingly delivered melodic lyrical delivery there that is one of the most muttered lines of the year for me. When I heard that and just the way he delivered it, and he's not a vocal expressionist or anything of that nature, but it swims in my brain. And this song only has like 9 words in it, so it's just has that a huge statement, even though, right? But the visual and sweetness of them linger like that bounce and vibration of light that actually comes from a lightning strike, of which he delivers perfectly in that moment. It's Goosebumps, and the rest of the album rides the vibration into a thrilling second half filled with more than what people might truly understand or appreciate. So, where did Damn hear this and want?
So I'm not a big connoisseur of Radiohead, so it's not that I would have listened to this and been trying to find the similarities anyway. You know,
Yep.
um, his first love was actually in acting, and he was playing in rehearsing in Midsummer's Night's Dream in high school, and that's how we met Tom York, actually, who
Oh,
was scoring the play of all things. So I would be very interested in seeing that, actually. Tom York doing Shakespeare. And that ended up being Ed O'Brien's musical epiphany as to maybe I don't want to be an actor, maybe I want to be a musician. Um, and he's been influenced by, Bowie and Depeche Mode and Police and, even Adam and the Ants and Susie Sue. Like, it's just the Banshee type thing, but COVID lockdown led him to,
mm-hmm.
more the contemporary jazz thing that he hadn't really explored before. And I think you can feel it in this album in spots, actually. Um, you mentioned Blue Morpho and what that means. And that title track, I really liked the arrangement, the strings. It was almost like you're hearing birds sing while, the butterflies are doing their thing. It was very, very pretty. Um, I didn't feel that the songs on this album were too long, which sometimes when somebody's this kind of an artist, it can be maybe too much of a showcase for that kind of thing. And that's where I lose interest sometimes when I'm listening. So I didn't feel that on this album. And I really liked what you said was, just how he's got this different vibes going on. And Teachers had a funky rhythm to it. I liked that song. There was nothing heavy about it, but it just, every time I passed through the album, that one kind of caught me a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think he's amazing. I'm glad he didn't become a cricket player or an actor. He loves cricket. Like, I think that's a law there. I'm not sure. But yeah, good job, Ed.
These are not songs that, well, hey, by the pricking of his thumbs, Grace radio kind of stuff is not going to come. This is not going to get radio play.
No,
It's
no.
not for a basic audience. There's a chamber-like atmosphere to it all, but with rapture and all kinds of majors and minors. I'm talking about chords, you jerks. It is a progressive album that breathes in musical artistry from avant jazz to different levels of subtle trip hop and an
Yeah,
odd funk that even finds engrossing levels and soaring aspects because of the butterfly. He's
yeah.
not just doing this to do it. Within his guitar solos and sounds, that's where really the breadth of it, the flight of the record is. It is masterful composition, and I finally found the best comparison, maybe, in Thievery Corporation, the swirling venture of my favorite track, Teachers, which goes all hell of a for everything, and then somehow still never fails to still breathe. The breath is his way of guitar playing, the tampering of it, the ambient pleasures and subtle lyrical positions that start to ride waves that become the flight and fancy and beauty of that wonderful species of which the album is named. But Ed O'Brien's second record here, after a lifetime within the creative compound of Radiohead, is an understated musical gem if you really put your ear to it. It's in the house from start to finish and feels like the flight of his bumblebee, which is the blue Morpho. He's got a tremendous ear to go with that guitar in his hand, which is great. And the journey here is a colorful reminder, despite our current surroundings, no matter where we are in the fragile world. So take flight. Better yet, take notice. Legacy Pilots, Camera Obscura, volumes 1 and volume 2. Separate records. You can buy them separately. Kind of don't know why you would, but maybe you would, because they're not completely the same, but they
Right.
are. What? Guy's an idiot. Stop talking. I love that Frank Us, yes, his last name is Us. Damn, that is like just fantastic. He kicks off his About Us on his website with music is my life. There's nothing in the world that conveys feelings better than music. We are humans. We are music every single day of our lives. Thanks, Captain Kirk. No, I'm actually, I just decided to do that on a whim, but in actuality, I love it. He's my hero right then and there. I don't care if he's sitting at the captain's chair or whatnot. There's no question that he gets it. He gets what I am, who I am, and he's from Hamburg, Germany. Multi-instrumentalist has known to me only through the grand schemes of the kingdom he lies in with Marco Minimum and who's a drummer with Steve Wilson, the Aristocrats, who, if you don't know them, you better check it out. And of course, Steve Morse, Steve Wilson. So you got Deep Purple, Flying Colors, all kinds of bands, right? Arena maybe with other people. Prague, and then some Prague, and then I'm going to Prague. But he's keeping his Prague in the era only of the golden era of the 70s.
Yep.
So he has confined himself musically. But in that confinement, he's still developing manifesting a fantastic place to start the adventure of Mr. Us, for me anyway, and what he progressively hearkens to in the volumes it speaks. Damn.
Well, camera obscura means it's Latin for dark room. Interesting. So,
Development.
after I learned that, I pictured him doing all of his composing and writing and arranging in a very dim lit room.
Oh, I had him pictured at that photomat booth that was very small and the two cars would drive up on both sides. Because that was the 70s, baby.
That sure was. Yeah, maybe that was his odd job. I didn't look that up.
Didn't you think there's like a cellar that went down to hell and that's where they did all? Where what did that person do? Like run across it? There's no dark room in that little booth. What the? Never mind. One of the most oddest things ever in the history of humanity.
Yeah, and then Airport Jewelers has their store in there, so they thought it was a good idea. But yeah, this is definitely classic Prague, the Prague that I was real time living through. So I had some very definite hits between the eyes of going, that sounds like this and that sounds like that. And I liked on volume one, Midnight Tide. There were three parts to that. But what I did like about these albums, including that, was the songs weren't as long as maybe I thought they would have been. Which when you told me there were two volumes and it was a prog band, I went, how many days am I going to have to listen to this? But
yeah, Tori Amos's album In Times of Dragons is longer.
That's absolutely true. I could really, I think it was Leave the Prison. That was Emerson, Lake and Palmer to me. The keyboards there for sure. That's just, you go, what's going on? Love that. Love that. But what I thought was interesting was in Prague, sometimes it's a lot of the more electric keyboard type stuff. And there were songs here that, showcased guitar solos and things like that, which is a little different, Illusion of Knowing. That had some good guitar solos. That one, I think that was on volume two. And the other one that I liked with the violins and the harmonies, it was just a little bit different, was I'm Running. And you just don't expect to hear those kind of string instruments so much when, the song prior is, the ELP coming at you, or in the vocals had like a Kansas feel to me, for sure.
That makes sense. And Pink Floyd. He's got a Floyd.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed this. Sometimes I get a little bit going, oh, here we go again. I listened to so much of this in my youth, and there's so many prog releases this year. But this one, like you said, it's very OG. It's definitely doesn't jump all over the place to be too many things at once. I liked how they kind of stayed in that lane, made it enjoyable, even though it was two volumes, but not terribly bad. I thought it was going to be a little bit tougher, but it wasn't.
So if you are a lover of the age of progressive rock that this harkens to, that's the Pink Floyds, the Emerson, Lake and Palmers, the little Sticks, yes,
Yeah.
then this is completely and utterly in your wheelhouse. It's right up Main Street. It's got that willingful grip of expansive instrumentals, delicate melodies, lyrical conditions, and that are so honest and battle tested that you might assume that it's a record of the past, but you know it's not because the band's name doesn't reach to you. So I kind of liken it to that in the upside down world of the Stranger Things, where we're traveling in the same verse, multiverse, but somehow modernized to a small degree because of the playmanship of these people
Yeah.
that he's got in his band. They're all fantastic musicians, but it's in a good way. You know, there's no dark
Yeah.
menacing flip to this. It's just on a
Yeah.
different. As a matter of fact, I this is one of those records where, and this is multiple times listening. The first one I with Legacy Pilots, and that it had an Emerson Lake and Palmer like cover, right? Brain stew or brain. Oh my God,
No.
what about brain surgery?
Brain
Brain
salad
salad surgery.
surgery.
Jesus, Mark. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start getting my
Something.
brain checked. So it had that cover like, and I thought, well, it's gonna be heavy because it had this mechanical look to it. But in all honesty, it was the first album was very subtle and
Mhm.
uh, not pop, but Marillion-ish. So I was like, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Then Volume 2 came in like, it came in like a wrecking ball without Miley Cyrus, and it had that emphasis, that oomphah that from the 70s, and a lot more guitar solos that were a little bit more guttural and expression. But this is the human condition, the humanity of it all, exploring the realities of today within the confines of an era long past, but never, ever forgotten. Frank and his merry men of musical musicianship make for a sound art and surreal journey with a subtle side and a more intense side too. So you can pick both or one if you want, but both delivered in homage, respect that is owed and expected from a band that's name is honestly the truth of their musical position. So where do you go? Yeah, this guy's great. I'd love to have him on the show, and he can talk about his prog influences and how it
Yeah.
speaks to him and why he stays in that realm and that lane. And even though he could probably be doing something
Sure.
maybe a little bit of something, so maybe I can coerce him into doing
Yeah.
a soundtrack to the movie in my head. Speaking of those that stay in a lane, let's get to the extras. There's only 2 this week. I could probably name drop a whole bunch of other ones I did, but let's just go right to it. Shine Down 8, and Corvus. Obviously, they spelled 8 carefully and crookedly to define their 8th album. I've seen them live. Guy's got a tremendous voice. The band is tremendous. It's good. It's kind of what you expected, but is that
Sure.
enough? Damn.
Well, I've always loved Shinedown, so I was excited for this, and I was hoping that it was going to be what I wanted and expected. So I don't I just like the familiarity of it. Yeah, and the vocals, of course. Oh my gosh. I mean, when you read the influences and then try to put them all together, and Otis Redding and Al Green and Sam Cooke and then Chris Cornell, that's a combo
He's
right
got a whole
there.
lot of meatloaf in there too.
Yeah. And their original guitarist, here's a little fact. He was married to the daughter of Ronnie Van Zant. And that's yeah, the original guitarist. I don't know his name, but that's
Okay.
why they did a that Simple Man cover was a tribute
Ah.
to them. Um, and so they're punk and trash and southern rock and all that kind of stuff. All the stuff that I like. I like that combination of sound. Um, as far as this album goes, like I said, familiar, what I expected. I mean, there were a couple songs that were totally signature Shine Down for me. 365, I think. Is that what was 365? Was the
Yeah, I
name?
think so.
Yeah. it was more like a rock ballad kind of thing, but not too. It wasn't cheesy. I didn't think it was like November Rain cheesy or anything like that. Um, Now the Southern rock comes out in Searchlight. That really harkens to their Tennessee roots. I feel like there's fiddles and banjos and steel guitar. I like that song a lot. And Machine Gun was a tribute to their two of the members' grandpas in World War II. So that's a little tidbit. And then Safe and Sound was a headbanger. I did like that. So yeah, I enjoyed this album, whether it was cliche or not. It was good for me.
So yeah, I've been smitten with his band. So let's give a little history.
Yeah,
That famous guy, Rick Beato.
yeah.
This is the band he produced, and
Huh?
probably made a considerable amount of money on. Which moved him to where he is today, maybe, and he's probably got a shining to those boys. But anyway, he it's the sound, right? When you're making an album, you want it to sound the best that it possibly can sound, and whatever you do in there to make that happen, um, is gravy. And maybe sometimes it's like, well, it's not true to the musicianship of the actual band live. I don't believe that to be the case. I've never believed it to be the case until I heard the first song on the record this time. Which wait, what are we doing? Queen?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wait
yeah.
a minute. Muse did it. It didn't work. You're doing it, and okay. So I thought we were going somewhere that we never went.
You never thought you'd see a moment like this. Now you're making money, but you're not on the list. No one's taking credit without taking the risk. So commit to how you're feeling when you're digging the most. Good luck with your decision when you're choosing your dose. More is always better, but you're cutting it close. So watch out! You cross the line, don't think, don't waste my time. We out here, burning down the disco. Watch out!
Yes.
And
Agreed.
I was and then we went back to where we were, right? And
Right.
this is the album I actually listened to the least, and I was
Really?
expecting it to be somewhere in the middle of that. And I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't thrown around the room,
Wow.
yeah, I need a passionate ass whooping and get my coat and my hat tooken. That's what I expect from the vocal, and I got it in some instances, but it kind of, I don't know. This is feeling tired to me in a way, and I hope it's not tired for the band because, I did inspiration.
Mm.
Okay, it might have inspired them. I'm not sure it's going to inspire the listener. Maybe.
How long ago was their last album? I
I
didn't
want to
look
say it
that.
was a bit longer than normal.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that's I
It's
didn't really
7
look to
years.
that, but no, there were albums that the three in a row there that were really really good, catchy. They
Yeah.
spoke to you. They ripped you up. They got you going. And I'm not sure how many of these are going to get played when they come here. And I don't know. It's this is the problem with this, in listening and subjectivity and the amount of stuff that we listen to.
Yeah.
And you out there, if you listen to this kind of music and a lot of it and everything, you're going to be like, well, it's this. Nothing came to the forefront and said, well, all right, there's a banger. There we go. All right. And get behind me kind of thing. So 8, it's not the magic number
Yeah.
for me anyway. All right. Took a chance.
Eh,
Cola. Yeah, like the beverage. But it too close to the microphone, Mark. It actually is the acronym of cost of living adjustment. Clever. Not so clever musically for me. Damn.
Oh God. All right. Well, all right. So an interesting review said that is it Tim Darcy is the vocalist? Is that
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
That in this album, it's a departure for him because he's instead of talk singing, he's actually singing in key and more melodic.
We were members of the company in its heyday. We take smoky breaks in the alleyway, watch yellows go gray. When I'm tired of getting erotic, worn down, rechecking the locks. I left the stove on in the parking lot. Bent down, checking my knots.
No.
I think the word's
Lies.
not. I don't think the word is melodic. It's monotone.
It was, I have to say, this album was almost unlistenable for me
Okay.
because of the vocal. It took away from anything else that I was trying to hear musically because it was just so sour. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's almost like taking that bite of a lemon and thinking it's going to be chocolate cake.
Okay.
You know, I mean, yeah, they uh, the only song that I could say actually felt like the tune and the melody came through for me because the vocals weren't so off-putting was Polished Knives. That was the only song. I just kept like trying to even read reviews of what's the best songs on this album and why. And then I turn the song on and go, I'm not getting that. I don't know who these people are that are hearing whatever they're hearing because I'm not hearing it. So yeah, it deserved to be last on our list. And yeah, don't do that to me again.
Yeah, genre placement here. I don't know what this genre's name is. All right.
Oh,
It's always going to have a problem speaking to me, and there are other bands that have done this. They haven't. Here it is. This cost of living adjustment. That's the name of your band. You've made no adjustment to anything
they
throughout
think
the entire record, throughout the
no,
entire genre. Have you adjusted nothing? I've heard
no.
this all before. I don't. And those bands that I've heard it from before, I don't remember them either.
Okay, there you go.
See, that's my monotony
Yeah,
of a lo-fi angle somehow that I'm supposed to, get yourself into a Modest Mouse, Death Cab
yeah,
for Cootie. Um, I don't know, just a Spoon. I don't know. Other get, grab something and get a little feisty. Just can't. Oh, I can't swim in that water.
no. And
It's
I'm an accountant and I'm sitting here. I have a monotonous job, and then you make me listen to this monotonous music.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that, like, if you could do accounting to it.
Yeah.
No, you're sitting there going 4, 7, 3. Oh man, I'm never gonna finish this. Sorry, boys, I'm not
Thank
drinking
God,
your cola.
thank God it wasn't two volumes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, but actually, if you got comments, leave them because maybe there's something that somebody will say it's this way
Yeah,
because,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
Because he I don't know. I can't even think of a reason why you would. But anyway, my opinion, right? Just only. And Deb's, which, she's more sound than I am. I will
Mm,
thank Deb for doing this weekend. Wow, it's just going to be me next weekend. So again, get ready for that. But do tell us what you thought of these records. Like the progressive people getting on the legacy side, legacy pilot. I gotta believe that that's going to have some push toward the progressive rock albums of the year, maybe. Especially if you like those bands that we were talking about in there. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok, because why not? YouTube's the greatest, though. Articles, videos, podcasts, all about music, albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on, even a really bad can of cola. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thanks for watching, and happy listening.